I'm Tabitha Wilkes, and this is my husband, Stephen Wilkes, and this is our story.
I was born in Rome, New York. I grew up with 3 older brothers. A couple of them passed away at birth, and it was kind of rugged. My father was an alcoholic, and I took a few beatings back in the days. I started skipping school when I was about 10 years old and doing drugs because I had older brothers that introduced me to them. And I got sent away when I was 10 years old to the Division for Youth. I got released from there when I was 16 years old, and it was kind of rough. And from the age of 16, I was robbing and stealing and doing a lot of drugs, and it led me, at the age of 23, it led me to 10 years in prison for armed robbery.
My upbringing was very rough. There was no affection, loving, kissing, hugging. We didn't do any of that. And there was a lot of bullying, calling us idiots, and we were worthless, and we grew up depressed because our family was abusive that way. In 2014, when we met, we were both addicts, and I was brought to his house, and that's where we began to do our crack cocaine habit, which turned into an excessive drug habit. We were robbing and stealing and prostituting. It cost us $1,000 a day. And it seemed like it was easy then. We didn't live life. We were just kind of there.
May 1st, 2020, we've decided that we had enough. We couldn't comprehend the things that were going on in life, and we knew that there was more to life than just doing drugs and putting my life in jeopardy, going back to jail. So we decided to pack our things and leave, not knowing anywhere where we were going to end up. So we just packed the U-Haul up on May 1st, 2020, and just drove to wherever we were going to be, whatever, just a change of life. And we ended up here in Selma, North Carolina.
We were living out of the back of the U-Haul, and we ended up in 4 Oaks at a hotel, which was everything we wanted to leave. We were surrounded by everything. There was a stabbing, a shooting, all these crazy things were happening. So we had moved around trying to find a place to live. We ended up in the back of Shoney's. We were homeless, and the temple outreach program would come around and feed us and offer us prayer and invite us to church. And then we got chased out of there by the police, and we ended up behind Food Lion. And there was a guy that threatened to kill us because we were invading his territory. So we ended up homeless again, and we were at a truck stop in Kinley, and the church people came out there, and they fed us and gave us prayer, invited us to church again.
Well, the Temple Dream Center invited us to Recovery Alive on a Friday night. So we decided that we'd give it a shot. We didn't know what it was going to be about or anything. So we pulled in the parking lot, and it was packed. I mean, I couldn't believe it. We were nervous at first. We didn't want to go in because we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know anything about it. So we decided, we'll go in for a hot meal. We were lost. We didn't know what to do. We didn't have nowhere to turn. So we figured church was the best thing for us. And we were invited to church that Friday night. And that following Sunday, we decided to come to church.
Once we started attending church on Sunday, we got a family community we built with the church. They were loving and caring. We were still homeless, and they didn't judge us for that. They allowed us to come to church and fill our water jugs so we could bathe and beat the heat because it gets hot here. And Stephen was going out with the homeless to help feed them, even though we were homeless. And I was helping with teen night, and I also helped with the food pantry that the church also offered to the community. April 2020, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, which I kept a secret, but it was beginning to get worse, and the symptoms were even worse than that. I was told I needed brain surgery, and I had 80% chance of being blind, deaf, disformed, and paralyzed. How can I get this brain surgery if I had nowhere to live and I was homeless?
While all this was going on, August of 2020, we come to church, and my wife was crying and everything, and I didn't know what was going on. And we come up to the altar, and she was crying really bad, and I didn't know what to do, and I was wondering why. And we both come up to the altar, and we give ourselves over to the Lord on the 28th of August, 2020.
On October 1st, 2020, I got a phone call from Temple Church. It was the lady at the front desk told me she knew where I could get housing, but I had to go obtain it right now. So I went and got it, and she said, show me the key. So I showed her the key, and Temple Church helped us get all the necessary things we needed. We got a bed, we got TV, couch, we got towels, we got rugs, dishes, everything. Temple provided all that for us. And we were so thankful and grateful, especially to have a toilet.
Yeah, I was very grateful for the toilet because we had a 5-gallon pail with a floaty foam thing wrapped around the top of the 5-gallon pail just so we had cushion on it.
I was grateful to have housing because now I could have my brain surgery. It was supposed to be an 8-hour surgery where they just cut in the back of my head to get the brain tumor out. But it was attached to my spinal cord, so they actually had to go and cut my head all the way open and lift my brain up out of my head to be able to get at the tumor. They were not able to remove the whole thing. I had to have radiation after that.
A couple of months later, it was her birthday. I made a good meal for her and cooked a cake, and she couldn't hold it down. She started vomiting excessively, and I didn't know what to do. So I called the hospital, and she went in for an emergency surgery to have her gallbladder removed.
I felt like I was dying, and we just couldn't catch a break. I got home and I was starting to get better from the gallbladder surgery, and I started my radiation treatments. And Stephen's brother and his girlfriend showed up and had us believe that they wanted to change their lives too. But there was a darkness, and they were taking Stephen down memory lane, and I wasn't sure what was going on. I was in a fog from the radiation, so I didn't know if I was not catching it or not seeing it correctly. But bad things began to happen, and they started showing signs of relapse. But we had come too far, and I loved this man too much to go back to the way we were. So we decided on April 11th, 2021, we were going to get baptized.
August 2021, my brother and his girlfriend had decided to leave. A big burden was lifted from us after months of being tempted. We decided to take our faith to another level and get married.
Because we were living together and we weren't married, and that wasn't right. Our conscience began to eat at us. As the day approached, everything began to go wrong. I broke my toe. The lady that was going to do my hair fell down the stairs. My family couldn't come. We had no money. Things were just falling apart. So I went to Pastor Glenn and told him it was signs we weren't supposed to get married. But he reassured us we were going down the right path to stay in the right direction. Following Pastor Glenn's advice, we decided to move on with our wedding plans, and things began to work out. A godly man paid for my denture. My toe got better. The cake, we were able to get the cake. Everything was coming together. My parents came down. My father was able to give me away. I was able to get my hair done. Everything worked out just as God had planned it. And on January 1st, 2022, we were married right here at Temple City. We are so grateful for what God has done in our lives through this church. We were in a dark time in our life, and He pulled us out into the light. If He can do it in our life, He can definitely do it in yours.